Web3 nomads. Everywhere jobs for anywhere people.
All right, we're back. Happy New Year, gents. How is it? Is everyone overweight and hungover still?
100%.
We never really took holidays, did we? I know that Dan.
What are we talking about?
Well, I went away for a week. You went away for 2 days, I think, if that.
Mate, that was at the start of December. I went.
But you never stopped. You never stopped, sir. I went into isolation and still couldn't manage to stay away from my devices. I failed miserably. I'm sure I'll pay penance for that at some point. But we're back. We're back, and it's an interesting time in the market at the moment. I mean, there's this amazing little rally that's happening, and people are losing their minds. I'm pretty sure I've seen people comment that it's the bull market's back, and you know they're selling their kidneys to get some extra money into the market, and we all know how that's going to end up working out. But yeah, thoughts on what's happening in the market at the moment, boys?
I've got a few positions, to be fair. I put my money where my mouth is. I think it's that point where you've just kind of said, fuck it. Like, I've already lost a shitload of money, so I'm going to just try and make it back in one trade.
Okay, well, we know where you stand, Dan.
Mate, I'm a forever bull. But it's January 10th today, right? At 2 p.m. today, you've got Fed Chair Powell speaking. So 2 things have happened, ladies and gentlemen. The market makers have pushed the price up, ready for Jay Powell to slash it down, or he's going to continue higher, and we're going to see a $17.5 thousand Bitcoin. You didn't think that was going to happen in 2023, did you?
I didn't.
Nah, but
I'm
pretty bearish, but in a bullish.
What are the chances that Powell has his say today, and for the first time in 18 to 24 months, there's a positive effect on the market?
Nah, 50 basis points for the rest of the year, bringing it all the way down. You got bank earnings starting this Friday, and you got to think what Goldman Sachs just absolutely dumped just a load of their employees, and then earning seasons. I think the start of this year, it's not going to be great because you didn't exactly have like the best end to 2022. So it's just like it would just kind of make sense for it to be a little bit doom and gloom at the moment.
Mm. And then in terms of like this whole idea, which we've obviously been grasping at for a very long time, I mean, is there a conversation to be had around some kind of decorrelation from traditional finance, or is that just never going to happen ever again?
I don't think it will. I think it's a speculative asset. It is a highly volatile asset. And for it to go up when the rest of the world is going down, like, it just doesn't make sense. And if it does go up when everything else goes down, it's quite clearly some form of like manipulation that's pushing it there. Like, it really doesn't make sense for them to be uncorrelated, because it's a money generator, right? If number go up on everything, then number go up. If everything go down, it go down.
Yeah.
We might see the flipping in of
enough for the
but
yeah. So we've released one thing like through the newsletter, stating where we think the immediate narratives will be in 2023, and again, I'm about probably Thursday, probably just after this video comes out. We've also got like a long form document, just picking out some of the projects and the areas and the stronger narratives that we kind of see coming on to the scene in 2023. So I think what we wanted to do is just go through a few of those. So I'm going to bring up the newsletter and we can just go through a couple of the points on there that Dan's made this week. So bear with me a second.
I do want to bring up.
First of all, wait there, Dan. This is like, if this was a shitcoin, this was like Bonk last 2 weeks. Up and to the right. It's nearly went nearly had a blow off top here yesterday.
It's going parabolic now. It's going parabolic.
I don't know who you've been paying to get on this, but yeah, it's
Everybody.
But yeah, it's your goal to 10x this over the course of the year, and I think we've got off to a very, very strong start anyway. So if you haven't subscribed, it's in the description below. It's basically what we talk about here twice a week through our articles, but it's usually at the forefront of everything that's about to happen. So it's all free. There's nothing. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're doing it to try and grow the newsletter. Hopefully we can bring on some ethical subs and sponsors and partners and things like that. So we don't want to be one of these newsletters where we're charging people, because I think that's fucking stupid. There's enough money that sloshes around in the space to get some quite well-aligned sponsors on the go. So that's the way we're going to play it. I think you paid newsletters are a lot of shit anyway, personally, but here we are. So anyway, the last post of 2023, we just went into where we're effectively wanting to place our chips. Obviously things can change, but yeah, Dan, let me just get to it. Any key area that you're seriously focusing on? Obviously you had an article on LSDs on the last, or liquid state and derivatives on the last post. Do you want me to bring that one up, or shall I get into this?
Can do. So this was like the 2022 review. We also released yesterday the 2023 kind of like outlook as well, which is pretty cool. So if you click on,
yeah, here we go.
There you go. These are our hot narratives. High 5, top 5, 2023 narratives. Blockmates versus the VC. At the end of the year, we're going to see who actually got it right. Either us, them, or neither of us. But kind of in this thread, we just break down 5 areas that we're kind of looking at, what the VCs are looking at. So I delved into a couple of threads. One was from like CJ, and the other was from OX Carl, who literally gave wicked TLDRs of a lot of pages of, VC papers. I did end up going and reading them on Sunday instead of going to touch grass. And it's actually quite interesting to see. So I am going to say, like, my big winner and my big narrative play for this year is going to be the memeable micro caps. Because let's be honest, last year, they literally printed more money than like anything. Obviously, it's not advice, not financial advice, DYOR, because you do get wrecked like I have. But there were people who turned the $69 bag into 6 figures in the space of 24 hours in that kind of scenario. So if you are playing that game, become a wallet tracker, become a wallet hunter, and then look into it. That's obviously not financial advice, but I think that's going to be one of the biggest winners for people from a financial point of view this year if they play it smart.
Yeah, something a bit like, just to expand on that, if it's a bit more actionable than if you wanted to learn how to get into wallet tracking, if you go on our YouTube channel and type in who was it? Oh, if you search for the Blockmates On-Chain Wizard episode, which is one of our most popular episodes last year, that obviously just goes into how On-Chain Wizard likes to go about wallet tracking and how he kind of found an edge. Dan's already linked to the wallet tracking guide that we've released in there. So like, just something a bit more actionable there. If you want to actually figure out how to do that kind of stuff, we've got content around it. If you can't find it, just jump in Discord and ask us a question. We'll be able to point you in the right direction. But yeah, that, like, even from Christmas till now, like the whole bonk thing that happened was just kind of nuts. And then you're starting to see people bridging over to Solana for the first time, and people trying to launch bonk replicas and things like that. But those kind of things are probably like a good gateway drug to get people into the space. They can also kick you out as quickly as possible as well, because they're effectively 1,000x leverage, aren't they? So, But yeah, I agree. I think there'll be some like ridiculous winners, and they're the ones that get the headlines as well. Like, you never hear about fucking GMX in the news. You always hear about like Dogecoin or SHIB. Do you know what I mean? So they're good for getting fresh meat into the space, I think.
Grant, you actually made a really good comment the other day about Bonk and Solana, and you to kind of quote you said, like, the first time around, from a Solana perspective, the VCs made all the money, and if you want an ecosystem to do well, make the users rich as opposed to the VCs. And essentially Solana needs that, right? It needs to kind of like get rid of this baggage that is the VC. I mean, I think for the most part, VCs have just really got a bad reputation for good reason. And the sooner we kind of like bring in people that aren't going to land up dumping and doing all the rest of it, the better it's going to be for the ecosystem. And more importantly, little guys need to make money. And that's what Bonk did. I think a lot of guys made a lot of money.
Yeah, so I like just using that as a segue. Let me just find it all. I've put it on this document. We're going to release this as a thread, like small parts of this as a thread, but the real meat of the article will be on blockmates.com. But I've actually put that in, like Solana DeFi revival. The whole idea that everyone's kind of written it off allows you to get great price points. Like when Solana was $250, I was kind of kicking myself just thinking, shit, imagine if you ever got a chance to buy Solana at $10 again, because that's the price I kind of bought originally and rode it all the way up. I think I sold it all out at 200 after it came back down. I was just like, if we ever get that opportunity again, it's kind of nuts, really, isn't it? So I did look at the circulating supply increase the other day, which is like 33%. So you've obviously got to take, if it was 250 for it to achieve the same market cap, it'd obviously have to be 33% of that. So, but still, you're still looking at like 15, 16x. Which some people like chasing shitcoins left, right, and center. There's like a huge network that has like USPs against like the EVM compatible chains. Great ecosystem. So I've put that on here. Just getting into, definitely biased because of the hero guys, and we're obviously really good friends with them and really close to them. But using Jupiter and Orca and things like that quite recently, I tried their World Pools thing, which was like their take on concentrated liquidity. Yes, I was LP in Solana and Bonk because it was paying 1% a day. So I give that a go, and that was the first time I'd used Orca in a long while, and that I thought that was like the whole UX around it was fucking great. You know what I mean? I think it just takes people to get over there and try it out and to realize how good it is. But I know a lot of people have written it off. But me personally, I think it's going to have a strong revival in 23. That might lean into 24 as well, but I don't see it going anywhere, to be honest. So that was kind of a good segue from that point.
I think writing off Solana is foolish at best. There's a massive community there. We spent, Dan and I spent time in Portugal, and it's with these guys, and there's no ways Solana rolls over and dies. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, they've had a tough time. I think they've got a little bit more pain to go through, but at the end of the day, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and I think Solana is going to demonstrate that to us. So I think long term, I'm bullish Solana.
Yeah, same. If you just look at the price, well, like when it capitulated, about a week ago, down to like $7. If you were to like have bought that pain, like it was probably like the simplest 2x that was there, because I saw it as like Sam and his like goon squad just like dumping their Solana bags, and then maybe building some longs or whatever. But if you'd have bought the fear, it was one of like the simplest plays to make. And if you are bullish on the ecosystem and what's actually going on there, and you've paid some attention, then it was like a no-brainer. And if you do dig deep into the VC papers, I think it was Masari's one, and they're like, yeah, Solana rebounds in 2023, duh. And it's like, okay, I can see that.
So I think the next thing is, I think in your paper, Grant, you you mentioned Solana, and Arbitrum, and I know that it's kind of like
in the news,
in
Dan's
news, it's very much in the news, and it's probably the most overtraded discussion probably in the history of crypto over the last 12 months. But one cannot underestimate the importance of the network effect. And I think what Arbitrum is demonstrating from my perspective is just how much opportunity there still is in the space, despite the fact that we're in the middle of this generational bear toilet. I mean, things don't really get worse than this. We haven't seen this. I mean, this is probably going to land up surpassing what happened, in the late 20s. And that's 1920s, by the way. But yet Arbitrum is absolutely killing it. And it just shows that the space is thriving, and all it takes is a combination of the right marketing and the right people to make it happen. And if you're not bullish on crypto long term, then you aren't paying attention. So these guys are just killing it at the moment. It's incredible to see.
I don't know if I'm kind of... Sorry, Dan, go on.
As you say, I did a thread the other day of 5 reasons why Arbitrum has been so successful, and every single reason is a marketer's dream. So if anyone's out there is a marketer or wants to understand why it's been so successful, go take a look at that thread. But one of the biggest things, or two of the biggest things I believe that has made it so successful, obviously low transactions, blah blah blah, cool gigabrain tech, whatever. But it is the relentlessness of their, we'll call them a marketing team, but in reality, it's a shill team, a very high level, high experienced shill team who's come from a very good TradFi world. The fact that they've been so relentless on absolutely everything is mind boggling. And then you couple that with the threadors, and I think people should never underestimate the power of a viral thread, because the threaders, who are obviously trying to engagement farm, like us, let's be honest, have really highlighted and pushed it consistently to the forefront of crypto Twitter and what's going on. And I don't see it slowing down too much here. Now we've got the Dex Wars going on. There's a whole new narrative, right? That's a whole new marketing play. You've got the Magic ecosystem as well, of all these games and NFTs and whatever that happening there. I'm super bullish on Arbitrum this year. And the fact that they've got 52% of the total value lockup market share, it's huge. Good luck, optimism.
Yeah, I think they're just continuing to do things right. And
I touched on I was I didn't touch on Dex Wars in my kind of breakdown, but I touched on kind of concentrated liquidity being a big thing. I think Joe will do really well. So there's a couple of things happening with Uniswap at the minute. Is their UNI V3 license effectively runs out in April. So you're kind of seeing a lot of concentrated liquidity or variations of concentrated liquidity spin up, because the standard 50-50 LP X times Y equals K is it's just not going to stand the test of time. And I think it's kind of on the way out. But Trader Joe built their own with their liquidity book and their kind of bin system, which is quite cool. Uni don't have a fee rebate token, whereas Joe do, although Uni's definitely got first mover advantage and obviously has all the liquidity and things like that. So anything with concentrated liquidity, whether that's off the back of the Uni V3 license expiring, could be interesting, or protocols that have gone and built their own take on concentrated liquidity from scratch, like liquidity book from Trader Joe or well pools by Orca. I think that's going to be interesting. But at the end of the day, the Uniswap Foundation or the DAO could quite easily vote to extend the Uni V3 license, pushing that back another couple of years so no one can go and fork the Uni V3 code. So that'd be quite interesting. It wasn't exactly Dex narratives. I don't think any Dex that is using a standard X times Y equals K bonding curve is going to be around for much longer. There's only so many ways you can shift the tokenomics around. I know there's a few popping up, but I just don't think they cut it anymore, particularly with Uni's depth of liquidity and Trader Joe's kind of relentless marketing and great product.
Yeah, and then Uniswap have got their fee switch coming up as well. So it's really interesting to see if or like how that's gonna play out for their ecosystem. But I don't think people are too happy about it.
What are the potential plays around?
There's the debate of there's the debate of the fee switch or the LP performance fee, like Curve do. Like Curve take 50% performance fee from their LPs, but obviously share that back to the DAO. So that'd be really interesting. It's probably something we should probably cover quite closely, like just have constantly be monitoring the Uni governance forum discussions and things like that. But I think the plays around. I think the plays around Uni V3 in particular are a little bit further left field with kind of regards to. There's going to be a few protocols that come out like Panoptic where they're going to effectively utilize Uni V3 to have non-expiring options. So they're going to use Uniswap, which is effectively like a black hole of liquidity, and build an options protocol on top of that using like the kind of tick for tick basis that Uni V3 can offer. And the guy who's behind that is probably one of the smartest people in the space. So I wouldn't kind of bet against it. I don't know if it creates a situation where it's a little bit too smart for the average user, but we'll have to see how that plays out. And then the other thing, which could be built on top of Uniswap, which is quite interesting, is Gamma Swap. So effectively, the whole idea that like 50-60% of Uniswap V3 and V2 LPs are losing money hand over fist becoming an LP. They're going to allow people to effectively buy insurance against impermanent loss. And I know for a fact they're not going to make that complicated as well, because I spoke to them, and they're going to make it like really like gamified and user friendly and idiot proof effectively. So they're two. Oh, and I suppose another one would be Arrakis. So like effectively like with Palm, so protocol automated liquidity management, I think is the acronym. So you're effectively going to have large market makers that have wanted to come in to the space and provide liquidity and being able to automate their own liquidity on Uni V3, or Arrakis could automate protocol on liquidity from other projects and things like that. So Arrakis, Gamma Swap, and Panoptic could be really, really interesting this year as well. But that's not like a traditional answer, I don't think. I think they're a little bit left field, but I suppose that's why you're presented with opportunities. Any others?
Spaceships are flying around my head now.
This is a good one, Dan. This is a really good one. Like decentralized stablecoins, obviously, we're a little biased and we think GMO, like we can't really say too much, but I think GMO are going to do really well with their centralized, collateralized one-to-one ZUSD and GYN. We'll just leave it at that. But there are a lot more exotic stablecoins, shall we call them. Dinero, we're expecting the white paper soon. We're going to have the redacted guys on actually when Dinero comes out, so they'll be able to explain it all. But like the speculation, Dan, I don't know if you want to go into this, but I've got my own take on it.
I've read it. I've read it. I've seen like the images that go with it, and it's like a three-way whirlpool. Didn't quite understand it yet, so I'm waiting for their, before I like make any comment on it, I'm waiting for their white paper to come out to actually like read it properly and like properly digest it, because a lot of what's online may just be speculative at the moment. So
yeah, my understanding was similar to how you have DAI backed by ETH. So you might have like deposit $1,000 worth of ETH mint, $800 worth of DAI. I think Dinero is going to expand a bit on that because of all the liquid staking derivatives on the market, like your Lidos, like your Rocket Pool, like your Stakewise. So you effectively be able to mint Dinero with your kind of liquid staking ETH derivative. So if you think about that, you're effectively earning kind of rewards or interest or staking rewards on your ETH whilst being able to go out to the market and have optionality because you've got Redacted, Dinero, stablecoin. So that's my kind of high level understanding of it. I'm going to wait for them to come on the podcast and tell us all about it straight from the source, effectively. But there are a few others as well. We've got notable mentions. I don't know if you want to get into them a little bit.
Yeah, you got obviously like AAVE Go. When that's actually going to launch, like literally, like nobody knows. I think they're just going to like ghost it on there. Obviously got Curves, CRV, USD coming, and then one that we're obviously like good friends with, the guys over at TapiocaDAO. A few little alpha leaks have been like hidden deep inside their tap talks recently, but they'll be having their USD0 coming out, and then I think Dopex is also having RDX or something. They're having their own decentralized stablecoin as well. I read it this morning. I can't remember the name of it, but that's another one to watch out. But I think this year is going to be like the battle of the decentralized stablecoin, and I think we're going to see a lot of movement. And even like the VC funds, they're all like super bullish on the stable coins. They're probably more bullish on the centralized ones, but for DeFi degens like us, like this little ecosystem here, I think it's going to play a massive narrative. How the things like Dinero are going to work, if it's like backed by like staked ETH or like a liquid asset, how that's going to work, I don't quite know. And then to what extent like depegging might happen is, you know, something to be seen. But I'm super hot on this area. It's boring in theory because it's like stable coins. It's not sexy like Bonk or Doge, but it's an area that really shouldn't be faded.
Yeah, faded. What's interesting as well with Tapioca's USD0 is they've actually they will deploy that on, so you have your ERC20 token standard on Ethereum. So LayerZero actually have an omnichain fungible token, which is a new kind of token standard that LayerZero released. So that just allows like elasticity across chains and complete kind of instant tradability across different chains and composability across different chains. So Tapioca's USD0 will be probably the only stablecoin on the market that actually has that functionality. So the levels of composability and tapping into different protocols and all the magical kind of things that can happen in DeFi if you actually have that underlying OFT standard built into your token. I don't even think we know what the capabilities of that will be until the whole LayerZero ecosystem rolls out properly, but kind of future-proofing themselves with that functionality is huge, in my opinion.
So they released it's not
they
official,
haven't released it.
They haven't released it, but their white paper, I've seen the latest version and I've read it. My brain is still trying to recover. But they've got some theories around what it is that you're speculating on, Grant. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm not going to discuss them now, obviously, because they need to do the official launch. But they're very mindful of those dynamics and obviously cross-chain. And, you know, how does having a stable coin across multiple chains with immediacy actually affect things? I mean, it's kind of like USDC on steroids. It's going to be really interesting to see how that experiment plays out. I mean, obviously really bullish around what it is that they're conceptualizing. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out, you know, in practice and in the real world.
Mm-hmm. This is one for debate. I know, Jerry, you asked the question yesterday, but I've included it in my thesis, but not for the reason you'd think. So crypto AI or AI crypto projects. What do you think? Do you want to go first, Jerry?
So I mean, what was really what? So I asked the question on Twitter. I said like, so what is potentially the benefit, or even the kind of like the disadvantage of AI and the role that it has to play in crypto? And because I'm genuinely still very much trying to formulate an opinion around this, trying to gather as much facts as I can, doing my research. And one of the interesting things that came up is that, you know, from a mining perspective, crypto AI could very much replace the whole idea of how proof of work is done, and even proof of stake is done, you know. So I mean, I found that extremely interesting. Listen, I think that with machine learning, as opposed, so that's the other thing, is that let's stop referring to it as artificial intelligence and rather look at it from a machine learning perspective. It's something that we obviously understand a lot better when we verbalize it. Machine learning makes a lot more sense than artificial intelligence. It's kind of like this entity, this program that's learning off the back of a whole lot of variables and algos and whatever the case might be. So is there a purpose? Is there a function around machine learning and how it can maybe even look at how hacks are happening within the DeFi space from a contractual level? I'm pretty sure that machine learning could land up preventing, you know, like a lot of the hacks that are happening at the moment before they happen. So an alert goes out when there's an exploit in process, and machine learning then shuts the whole thing down. I mean, I reckon that could be extremely powerful. How it works and how it goes about being put into play, that's obviously where the big brains come in. But I think that's one of probably hundreds, if not thousands, of examples of how, you know, this technology and this essentially ideology could really like shift things up.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And with something like this would be one of those like narratives that in theory doesn't need a token, because it just doesn't need a token. There's so many projects out there that just don't need a token, like have the gigabrain tech there, but then just to say, oh, we need a token for like governance or for staking or whatever. It's like, no, dude, you don't. It's a scam, bro. Like, come on now. Like, who are you fooling? I think this would be a big tech play, and probably from like a big tech play, like I don't know how to describe it, but you won't need a token. That's it.
Yeah. So my idea was, I mean, there's a couple on the market already that have seemed to have caught a couple of bids, like Fetch AI, Ocean. There's a few more like a little bit further across the risk curve and things like that. But I don't necessarily see kind of there'll be a lot of projects spun up as just like a basic cash grab. A lot of shitcoins will be spun up as a basic cash grab if they just try and put AI in their little buzzword on the landing page of the website and things like that. So be very wary of stuff like that. But there's all sorts of things that it could be used for. I mean, I'm pretty sure GitHub implemented machine learning across all the submitted code across GitHub, and then that's created this thing where I was speaking to Monolith from Trident the other day about this, where he was saying they've reduced their coding time like drastically because of GitHub's kind of predictive code. So it's effectively machine learning. It's scanned all the repositories on GitHub and can effectively predict. You know how we get kind of like predictive text on the iMessage or WhatsApp and things like that. So they've cut down their coding time drastically by using that, and I think they only pay like, I don't know, it's a nominal amount per month to actually do that. So things like that. I think you're kind of on the right lines with regards to automated shutdown of potential exploits, because I'm pretty sure the guys from Gauntlet are working on a product that does that. I've seen a few people run the code through, I don't know if it was ChatGPT-3 or what, and used it as like a soft audit, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Definitely.
So all sorts of things like that. And like if you start thinking about what it could look like for trading algorithms and writing scripts for that, I hope it doesn't, because the average manual clicker is going to get absolutely destroyed. If it could analyze past data from all like Bitcoin or ETH moves and write you
But
a
the thing
script
is,
for like mean reversion, then
the thing is, Grant, that's essentially what machine learning / AI is meant to do. It's meant to learn trends, predictions. I mean, it's going to change so much. Obviously, if it's implemented in the correct way, it obviously comes down to successful implementation, setting those boundaries and the variables that are presented to it. But I think that's not difficult to do, especially in a technical analysis perspective. I mean, all those dudes are going to get completely and utterly obliterated to the extent that bots will truly become profitable through the process of machine learning. And manual trading will then become completely and utterly pointless. And then the game becomes even more difficult. And the stakes become even more, the boundaries of this whole thing will just expand. And things will get really interesting, and it's all happening in front of our eyes. It's insane.
I think like my idea to get exposure to it would be like the easiest way for me would be go and hit some of the original AI generative art projects like Fidenzas and Squiggles and things like that. And if you can't afford them, then have a look at fractionalized NFT markets. So you could kind of gain exposure or own a fraction of a Fidenza or a Squiggle, like, because I think Fidenza's like 80 ETH or something like that, maybe even a bit more.
Yeah.
But generative art, AI art, and things like that. There's the Pepe Denzas at the minute that I really want, but I can't seem to find one anywhere. It's like a Fidenza, but like amalgamated with like Pepe. So that'd be my probably way to gain exposure to it, I think.
Nice.
I've got 2 minutes.
I like this topic. I like machine learning. I like where because what I like about it is that it really does push the envelope and it tests, the parameters on every level. I love it. And it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out in 2023. Unfortunately, it's going to take a while to get rid of all the noise, but I suppose, the journey's got to be enjoyable, not just a destination. So let's see how it plays out.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to have to wrap it up. So we'll release all this. Dan's newsletter is already out, so you'll be able to subscribe to the Ape Enclosure below. We'll make sure we release this through Twitter and across all the other platforms as well. If you haven't, subscribe button, please, or even put the notification on. There's still like 50% of people who watch or listen to this that aren't subscribed, so that would really help us out. Next stop is 10,000 if we're up 3.5. So if you could do that, it'd mean a lot to us. And yeah, see you Friday.
See you on Friday.
All right.
See you Friday. Yeah, please like and subscribe. Lots of cool things coming from us in the coming months. 2023 is going to be a big year for us. So keep an eye on this space. We're not here for the short term. We're here for the long term. And yeah, we appreciate you guys. Take it easy.
All right. See ya.